Kathrin didn't sleep at all. By morning, the house felt different. Not tense, but alert. Like a place that expected something to go wrong and had already decided how much it was willing to sacrifice. Mikkel stood at the counter, pulling on his jacket with his injured hand held carefully against his chest. His movements were slower than usual. Not clumsy, controlled. Too controlled. "You're not going out," Kathrin said. He didn't look at her. "I am." Her father stepped in immediately. "Absolutely not." Mikkel finally turned. "If I don't, the mountain will." "That's not an answer," Kathrin snapped. "That's an excuse." Mikkel's jaw tightened. "It's strategy." Kathrin moved closer, lowering her voice. "You said it's using you as leverage. Why would going toward it help?" "Because it expects me to stay still," he said. "Because if I don't move, it controls the timing." Her mark reacted instantly, cold, sharp. "That's not your decision to make alone anymore," Kathrin said. Mikkel met her gaze. "Then come with me." Her father's voice was immediate. "No." Kathrin didn't hesitate. "Yes." Both men stared at her. "You just set a rule," her father said. "About choosing the cost." "And I'm choosing," Kathrin replied. "Together is cheaper than alone." The house creaked once. Not approval, permission. They crossed the boundary before anyone could rethink it. The moment Kathrin stepped outside, the pressure hit, harder than before but clearer. Not chaotic. Focused. The mountain wasn't testing now. It was tracking. They moved fast along the tree line, not toward the old path but parallel to it. Mikkel led without hesitation, like he already knew where he was going. Kathrin kept up easily. Too easily. Her breath didn't burn. Her legs didn't tire. The mark fed her momentum, cold and efficient. "This feels wrong," she said. Mikkel nodded. "You're borrowing strength." "From the house?" "No," he said grimly. "From yourself." That should have comforted her. It didn't. They reached the ravine faster than expected. The symbol in the snow was gone. In its place, footprints. Human. Recent. Kathrin stopped cold. "Someone else is here." Mikkel crouched, examining the marks. One person. Sloppy steps. Not careful. "Villager?" she asked. He shook his head. "Too deliberate." "They're looking for something." Kathrin's stomach tightened. "Or someone." The mountain pressed harder, reacting to her fear. She didn't push it away. She used it. Kathrin stepped forward, focusing, not on sound, not on cold, but on direction. The pressure shifted instantly, pulling her slightly to the left. "There," she said. They went that way. Mikkel stared at her. "You didn't answer it." "No," she said. I listened without responding. Something like pride flickered across his face, then vanished. They followed the trail deeper than they should have. The forest thinned abruptly, opening into a stone clearing Kathrin had never seen before. At its center stood a narrow pillar of rock, split down the middle like something had struck it with force. Blood stained the snow at its base. Fresh. Kathrin's heart slammed. No. She rushed forward before Mikkel could stop her. The mountain surged instantly. The mark burned violently. Kathrin staggered, but didn't fall. She forced herself to stop. The blood wasn't Mikkel's. Relief hit hard and fast. Then she saw the movement. A man lay slumped against the rock, barely conscious. His jacket was torn. His hands were raw, scraped bloody. He lifted his head weakly. I heard it. Mikkel swore under his breath. Damn it. Kathrin crouched in front of the stranger. Heard what? The voice, the man whispered. It said it could bring my brother back. Kathrin went cold. The mountain wasn't improvising. It was recruiting. Mikkel grabbed the man's shoulder. How long ago did it speak to you? Last night, he said. After the storm. Kathrin's pulse raced. That was when it failed with me. Mikkel nodded grimly. It shifted targets. The man tried to stand and collapsed with a cry of pain. Kathrin caught him instinctively. The mountain reacted immediately. The pressure spiked. Kathrin's vision blurred. She shoved the sensation down hard. No, she said aloud. Not him. The pressure wavered. Mikkel stared at her. You just countered it. Kathrin's breath came fast. It's trying to make me choose again. Between you and him, Mikkel said. The man looked between them, confused and terrified. What are you talking about? Kathrin stood slowly, positioning herself between the stranger and the mountain's pull. You don't owe it anything, she said firmly. It lies. The man shook his head weakly. It sounded like my brother. That's how it works, Kathrin said. It uses what hurts. The mountain pushed again, harder. Kathrin didn't retreat. She stepped forward, not toward the voice, toward the danger. The pressure broke. The clearing went still. Mikkel exhaled sharply. You didn't just resist. Kathrin swallowed. I interrupted it. Behind them, snow slid from the trees. Footsteps approached. More than one. Mikkel's expression darkened. We're not the only ones who heard it. Kathrin straightened, pulse racing, not with fear, but readiness. Then we stop it, she said. The mountain shifted, and this time it didn't whisper. It waited. They didn't have time to move the man. The footsteps were too close now. Too many, at least 3, maybe more. Snow crunched unevenly, hurried, careless. People who weren't thinking straight. Kathrin felt the mountain tighten its grip. It's pulling them, she said. Mikkel nodded. And it's not being subtle anymore. The injured man tried to push himself upright again, panic flashing across his face. I didn't mean to. I just wanted him back. I know, Kathrin said quickly. But you have to stay still. The pressure spiked again, sharper this time. A voice drifted through the clearing. Hello? Another voice, closer. Did you hear that? Kathrin swore under her breath. They're splitting up. Mikkel moved instantly. We don't let them reach the center. He stepped toward the stone pillar, jaw set, ignoring the way his injured hand trembled. Kathrin grabbed his sleeve. You're not the bait. Mikkel met her gaze. Neither are you. Before she could argue, he turned and shouted into the trees, voice clear and commanding. Stop where you are. The footsteps faltered. A woman emerged first, early 30s, eyes wild, coat half zipped like she'd run straight out of her house. Behind her came 2 others, a teenage boy and an older man, both breathing hard. Thank God, the woman said. We heard someone crying. The mountain leaned in. Kathrin felt it instantly, the shift, the intention. It pressed images into the woman's mind, sharpened her hope. Kathrin stepped forward, cutting the line. There's nothing here for you, she said firmly. You need to go back. The woman hesitated. But I heard my daughter. Kathrin's stomach dropped. The teenage boy took another step. I heard my dad. The mountain surged, pleased. Mikkel swore. It's using all of them at once. Kathrin didn't think. She moved, not toward the voices, toward the people. She placed herself directly between them and the stone pillar. Arms spread slightly, not dramatic, just decisive. It's lying, she said loudly. All of it. The older man shook his head, tears in his eyes. You don't know that. I do, Kathrin snapped. Because it tried it on me first. The pressure slammed into her, hard enough to make her knees buckle. Mikkel caught her instantly. Kathrin. She shook him off. I'm fine. She wasn't. But she stayed upright. The mountain pushed again, furious now. Snow whipped up around them, blinding, chaotic. Kathrin planted her feet and did something reckless. She reached into the pressure, not to draw power, to disrupt it. She focused on the feeling, not the sound. Not the images, but the rhythm beneath it. The pattern she'd felt on the path. The counting. She stepped forward in time with it. Once, twice. The pressure stuttered. Mikkel stared at her. What are you doing? Breaking its focus, she said through clenched teeth. She turned to the villagers. Close your eyes. What? The woman cried. Now, Kathrin shouted. Something in her voice cut through the panic. They obeyed. The mountain surged, angry, off balance. Kathrin took another step. The mark burned like ice and fire together. She felt something tear, not in her body, but in her sense of certainty. Like losing the edge of a thought she hadn't realized she relied on. But the pressure cracked. The images shattered. The voices stopped. The clearing went dead quiet. The villagers gasped, stumbling back as if waking from a nightmare. The teenage boy clutched his head. What was that? Kathrin swayed. Mikkel grabbed her. That was too much. She forced herself to stay conscious. Did it work? Yes, he said, but... He stopped. Kathrin followed his gaze. The stone pillar had split further. A long crack ran down its center now, pulsing faintly. Kathrin's stomach dropped. I weakened the boundary. Mikkel's face was pale. You didn't just interrupt it. She swallowed. I invited attention. The mountain answered immediately. The ground trembled. Not violently, deliberately. A low sound rolled up from beneath the stone, deep, resonant, unmistakably aware. The villagers screamed. "Run!" Mikkel shouted. "Now!" They didn't hesitate this time. Kathrin turned to follow and froze. The crack in the stone widened. Something inside shifted. Not emerging, not yet, but preparing. The pressure slammed into her chest, heavier than anything before. Her vision darkened. Mikkel grabbed her shoulders. "Kathrin, look at me." She tried. The mountain didn't whisper. It spoke. Not in words, in certainty. "You will break before the house does." Kathrin felt herself slipping, losing grip on something important, something human. Then, pain. Sharp, grounding, real. Mikkel's voice cut through it. "Stay with me." Blood dripped from his reopened scar, falling into the snow between them. Rule 3 screamed in her head. If he bleeds, she must not follow. But this wasn't following. This was holding. Kathrin clenched her teeth and stayed exactly where she was, forcing her focus away from him even as every instinct tore at her. The mountain hesitated. Confused. It had expected her to move. The crack in the stone stopped widening. The pressure recoiled, angry, unfinished. Kathrin collapsed to her knees, gasping. Mikkel fell with her, gripping his injured hand hard enough to stop the bleeding. The forest stilled. The villagers were gone. The clearing was silent. Mikkel laughed breathlessly. "You just did the one thing it didn't expect." Kathrin wiped blood from her lip, shaking. "What?" "You used its momentum against it," he said. "And you didn't break a rule." Her head swam. "I lost something." Mikkel's expression darkened. "What?" She searched herself, her thoughts, her senses. Then it hit her. "I can't remember the sound of my favorite song," she whispered. Mikkel closed his eyes. "That's the second cost," he said quietly. The mountain retreated, just a fraction. Not defeated, but wounded, and very, very interested. They didn't get a moment to recover. Kathrin was still on her knees when the pressure returned. Not as a wave, but as a pull. Sharp, directional. The mountain wasn't pushing anymore. It was calling others. "Mikkel," she said hoarsely, "we need to move." "I know," he replied, already scanning the tree line. "It's widening the net." Footsteps echoed again. Faster this time. Panicked. Too many to count. Kathrin forced herself upright, ignoring the way her vision swam. "I can't do that again." "You won't," Mikkel said. "Not like that." The crack in the stone pillar pulsed once, then stopped. Like a held breath. The mountain was waiting. A man burst into the clearing, stumbling hard. Then another. Then a woman with a scarf half wrapped around her face, eyes wide and unfocused. "They're coming straight in," Mikkel muttered. No hesitation. Kathrin stepped forward before he could stop her. "Stop," she shouted. None of them slowed. The mountain surged, stronger than before, more confident. Kathrin felt something tear inside her, not suddenly, but steadily, like fabric pulled too far. She gritted her teeth and focused. Not on the mountain, on movement. She grabbed the first man by the shoulders and shoved him sideways, breaking his forward momentum. He stumbled, confused. The woman cried out, "My son is in there!" Kathrin shook her hard. "No, he's not." The mountain reacted violently. Pain exploded behind Kathrin's eyes. She cried out, clutching her head. Mikkel was there instantly. "Kathrin, enough!" She shook him off. "If they reach the stone, it's over." The teenage boy from earlier reappeared, sprinting toward the pillar, eyes empty. Kathrin moved. Fast. She tackled him just short of the crack, hitting the ground hard. The impact knocked the air from both of them. The mountain screamed, not in sound, in rage. The crack widened abruptly. Kathrin felt something slip free inside her, something precious. Her chest tightened painfully. Mikkel dragged her back, yelling something she barely heard. "You're bleeding it dry." "I don't care," she gasped. Not them. The stone pillar split with a sharp crack. A shockwave rippled outward, throwing everyone to the ground. Snow exploded into the air. When Kathrin hit the ground, the world tilted. She stared up at the sky and felt nothing. No fear, no panic, no urgency. That was worse. She pushed herself upright slowly. "Mikkel?" He turned to her, face white. "Say my name again." "Mikkel," she said. Her voice sounded flat. He swallowed. "What are you feeling?" Kathrin searched herself. "I know I should be afraid. she said carefully. But I'm not. Her father's words echoed in her head from earlier days. Fear keeps you human. Mikkel's voice was tight. That's not good. The mountain surged again, sensing the opening. Kathrin stepped forward automatically. Too automatically. Mikkel grabbed her wrist hard. Kathrin, stop. She looked down at his hand on her arm. There was no instinctive reaction. No pull, no hesitation. That terrified her. I don't feel it, she whispered. The rule. The fear. Mikkel stared at her. It's taking your emotional breaks. The mountain pounced. The pressure slammed into them, throwing Kathrin backward toward the stone. Mikkel reacted instantly. He stepped in front of her. The pressure hit him instead. He cried out, dropping to one knee, clutching his head. Mikkel, Kathrin shouted. The mountain seized the moment. The crack in the stone widened into a narrow opening. Cold poured out. The air pulled. Mikkel gasped, dragged forward inch by inch. Kathrin's body moved before her mind caught up. She grabbed him. Rule 3 shattered in her thoughts, but she felt no fear anymore. Only purpose. The mountain surged, delighted. Yes, yes, come closer. Mikkel screamed. Let go! Kathrin didn't. That was the mistake. The house reacted. Not gently, not carefully. A wave of force slammed through the clearing, knocking everyone flat. Trees groaned. Snow collapsed from branches. The pressure vanished instantly. The opening snapped shut with a thunderous crack. Silence. Kathrin lay gasping, heart racing, but still no fear. Mikkel lay beside her, unmoving. Her father's voice echoed faintly from somewhere behind. Kathrin, Mikkel! She rolled onto her side and shook him. Get up! He didn't. Her chest tightened, but still no panic came. That scared her more than anything. Mikkel, she said again louder. His eyes fluttered open slowly. He groaned. That was bad. Relief should have flooded her. It didn't. She noticed something else instead. His eyes looked wrong, not injured, empty. Mikkel, she said slowly. Do you know where you are? He frowned, confused. In the woods. Who am I? He hesitated. Kathrin's heart finally tried to panic. He swallowed. I know you're important. I just can't place it. The world tilted violently. Kathrin's hands shook for the first time since the impact. Mikkel, she whispered. Say my name. He stared at her, searching. Nothing. The mountain had lost its opening. But it had taken something far worse. Kathrin grabbed Mikkel's collar and yanked him closer. Look at me, she said, hard. Mikkel blinked, disoriented. I am. Say my name. He stared at her face like it was almost familiar, like a word on the tip of his tongue. His brows pinched. His mouth opened. Nothing. Kathrin's jaw tightened. She didn't cry. She didn't freeze. She didn't even shake, not the way she should have. That was the problem. She turned to the villagers sprawled in the snow. Some were crying. Some were staring at the stone pillar like it might open again if they blinked. Everyone up, Kathrin snapped. Now! A man stumbled to his feet. Who are you? The one keeping you alive, she said. Move. Mikkel pushed himself upright slowly. He looked at the stone, then at his bleeding hand, then back at Kathrin. I remember the mountain, he said hoarsely. But not you. Kathrin nodded once. Then you follow my voice. She turned to the closest villager, a woman shaking so hard her scarf slipped down. What did you hear? The woman sobbed. My daughter. She said she was cold. Kathrin stepped close, voice low and sharp. Your daughter isn't here. I heard her. I know, Kathrin cut in. That's how it hunts. Now listen. You're going to walk back with the others. If you hear anything again, you do not answer. Not out loud. Not in your head. You keep walking. The woman stared, wide-eyed. How do you know? Kathrin didn't explain. Because you're alive. Mikkel swayed slightly beside her. Kathrin caught his arm. He flinched like her touch didn't belong. That hurt. She refused to slow down for it. More footsteps hit the clearing. 2 more villagers ran in, one of them carrying a flashlight. Like it could fight a mountain. Kathrin snapped her head up. Stop! Don't go near the stone. They ignored her, eyes locked on the crack line as if they could still see something inside. Kathrin moved fast. She intercepted the man with the flashlight, grabbed his wrist, and twisted just enough to make him drop it. The light hit the snow and rolled. What the hell? He started. Kathrin shoved him back. You want to die for a voice? Because that's what this is. The second villager, a teenage girl, pushed past her, crying, My brother is in there. Kathrin grabbed her by the shoulders and shook once, hard. No. The girl slapped her. Kathrin didn't react the way she should have. No anger, no shock, just emptiness. She slapped the girl back, clean and controlled, hard, enough to stop her forward motion. The girl stared at her, stunned. Kathrin hated herself for how easy it was. Mikkel's voice cut in, strained. Kathrin, careful. She glanced at him. I am careful. But she knew what he meant. No fear means no breaks. She bent down, picked up the flashlight, and aimed it at the stone pillar. The crack was sealed now, but the rock still looked wrong. Too smooth where it had snapped shut, like it had healed. Kathrin's mark burned once. A tug in her chest. Not fear, a pull of direction. She turned sharply toward the tree line. We're leaving, now. The villagers hesitated. Kathrin raised her voice. Go! They moved. Not because they understood. Because she sounded like someone who wouldn't accept no. They started stumbling back through the forest as a loose group, coughing and crying and swearing. Mikkel followed beside Kathrin, quiet, watching her like he didn't know whether she was saving them or becoming something else. They didn't get far before the mountain tried again. It didn't whisper this time. It copied. Kathrin heard Mikkel's voice behind her, perfectly his tone, perfectly his rhythm. Kathrin, wait. She stopped dead. Mikkel beside her hadn't spoken. Her stomach dropped. The villagers slowed, confused, looking around. Kathrin lifted the flashlight and swung it toward the sound. Nothing there. Then the same voice again, softer. Kathrin, I'm bleeding. A spike went through her chest. Not fear, reflex. Rule 3, burned into the bones of the story. Mikkel's real voice came tight beside her. That's not me. Kathrin clenched her jaw. I know. But the pull hit anyway. Her feet shifted forward before she stopped herself. Mikkel grabbed her sleeve. Don't. Kathrin froze. The mountain pushed harder, using the new weakness it had created. Not fear, but absence. If fear couldn't stop her, it would use emptiness to move her. Kathrin forced herself to do something different. She didn't resist the pull. She redirected. She stepped sideways off the path, then forward, then sideways again, breaking the line, breaking the rhythm the mountain was using. The pressure wavered. The copied voice faltered. Kathrin spoke, loud enough for everyone to hear. That voice is not real. The villagers stared. Kathrin kept walking, making them follow her pace. If you hear your loved ones, she continued, you do not answer. You do not turn. You keep moving, the copied voice hissed, slipping into the trees. You can't keep them forever. Kathrin didn't slow. Watch me. They reached the boundary line. The moment Kathrin crossed it, the pressure cut off abruptly. Several villagers stumbled as if a rope around their chests had snapped. The house stood ahead, solid, dark, waiting. The door opened before they reached it. Her father stood in the doorway, white-faced. His eyes locked on Mikkel first, then on Kathrin. What happened? He demanded. Kathrin didn't soften it. It took him. Her father's face drained. Took him how? Mikkel stepped forward awkwardly, like someone entering a room they didn't recognize. He looked at Kathrin's father, then at Kathrin again. I know this place, he said slowly. But I don't know why. Kathrin swallowed. You know the mountain, but you don't remember me. Mikkel stared at her. I'm sorry. That hit harder than any whisper. Kathrin felt something twist inside her. Still no fear, but something else. A thin thread of grief trying to wake up. Her father grabbed her shoulders. Are you okay? Kathrin hesitated. No. The honesty surprised her. Mikkel's voice was quiet. We made it worse, didn't we? Kathrin looked at him, at the empty space where recognition should be, and forced herself to stay standing. We made it personal, she said. Now we end it. The house shut the door behind them. The lock clicked, and the journal slid across the table by itself, opening to a blank page. A single line appeared, written in Kathrin's hand. If fear is gone, I must become my own warning. Kathrin stared at it. Then she picked up the pen beside the journal and wrote the next line with shaking fingers.